Hey guys, just because the weather's bad outside doesn't mean that you need to have that dirty smoker. I'm going to show you how to quickly clean this Traeger pellet grill in under 15 minutes. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Todd, and first I'd like to ask you guys, if you like what you're seeing, please take a minute to smash that subscribe button, tap that bell, so you don't miss a thing. So this is the time of year where the weather is pretty bad across the country, and with the different things that are going on nowadays, washing your hands and sanitizing everything, you don't want to forget about the most important appliance in your house or your backyard, and that's your smoker. In this case, the Traeger little Tex 20 Pro or Elite or any number of pellet grills. You want to take care of these things so that they take care of you. So what I like to use is a nice plastic scraper. I don't use metal scrapers on these because I don't want to chip any paint or cause any gouges in there that I don't need to. Also, what I found that works really well, if you don't, are these wooden little throwaway shims that a lot of people that are in the construction use. These are great for getting into some of the corners in here. I'll show you in a minute. And obviously your cleaning surface, you want to use a nice quality oven cleaner. Spray down that surface of your grates, let them soak a little bit, and then use a non-abrasive kind of scrubber and a little handle that they come with to help scrape those off. Don't use any stainless steel, any metal or anything like that. Use something that will wear away before the surface of your grates wear away. Some of these grates have some kind of coating, ceramic or other stuff, and you don't want to get any you want to lose any of that coating. Unless you are spending the money on those Traeger throwaway protective aluminum trays, get yourself some extra wide aluminum foil, and unless you got a lot of hand cleaner laying around nowadays, there's not a lot to be found. Use some cheap throwaway latex gloves. It'll help you out. All right, without further ado, let's get started. All right guys, so here we go. So it's really not that dirty. I actually keep mine fairly clean, but what you want to do, get yourself some room here. And since I'm going to be spraying these down with an oven cleaner, but I'm not hosing down or introducing any water moisture while I'm cleaning here, I'm going to take these grates out and I'm going to put them over the top of a bucket or something to actually do the spraying. I'm just going to pull these off, set them aside. The grass works good. Okay, I'd suggest you guys keep your pets away while you're doing this. Now, this drip pan here that Traeger has in these little Texas, I like to cover mine with foil. Again, Traeger, maybe a couple other companies make these little inserts here, but they cost money. Most people have foil laying around, so that's what I'm using. So this just lifts right on out. Again, onto the grass. Next thing we got here is this Baffle Plate. Now these get warped a little bit. There are some companies that make replacement ones that are pretty heavy duty steel, but this is doing its job perfectly fine, so I'm not going to need to replace this. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is take my plastic scraper here, and I'm just going to start scraping down. Okay, for areas like this, I like to use this wooden scraper that I was showing you earlier. Just get in there. The wood will break before the finish does, or any metal surface in here, any paint or anything like that. And I just go around, get the worst of it. Over here, you can see a lot of grease caked up there. All right. And then right here in the grease catch trough here, I just get the big chunks, just knock it down. And interestingly enough, this is exactly the same size as the square drain tube here, so that just goes right on down. You can make sure it's unclogged and there's no chunks in there. You want to make sure that in all smokers that your grease drain stays nice and open. Exhaust tube here, mine's pretty wide open. Again, I do some deep cleaning about every 6 months or so. Okay guys, This took about 10 minutes, a little bit longer than I thought it would, because I always end up doing more than I intended to, and so that's my fault. But what I went ahead and did is I scraped all the sides down, and got the fire pot really well, and I went ahead and I did break out the shop vac just to suck out the fire pot a little bit. You want to be careful of the little igniter that's in there. Make sure that you wipe that off. Don't spray anything in here. Just get a nice little cloth or something and kind of wipe it off. And one thing I wanted to point out that's really critical is this thermometer here. This is really important for the function of your Traeger or any pellet grill that relies on an ambient temperature sensor. So I went ahead and sprayed some of this easy off on here, let it soak. Then I took the non-abrasive, kind of sacrificial kind of scrubber, and I just lightly kind of went over it, wiped it down, got a little bit of water and just kind of wiped it down. You want to make sure this area is clean of anything that might flare up, any hot spots of grease that will get hot and give you really weird temperature reading on your Traeger. This is often an area that people neglect, and then they wonder why their pellet grill isn't working properly. So always double check this, including down here and around the bottom of this auger here that's running. This is just basically just a shell here. There is a way of getting this out, but we're not going to go that deep on this video. But when you're scraping around the sides, definitely get your shop vac under there. Look for any chunks of grease that might flare up. There's been some people that have complained about paint burning away on the outside. That's because a chunk of grease gets stuck on the inside here and ignites, and it gets super hot. And there's not a whole lot of paint that can withstand that. So look for those little chunks, pull them off, and you should be good to go. Okay, another little spot to keep extra clean is any aftermarket thermometers you have. I have this Tell-True here, and you can see here it has a similar type of probe here. So you want to make sure that's clean as well. Obviously that's not part of the function of the electronics or anything, but I like to clean it off too. So you might see some loose carbon up here on the door. Just knock that off. It's harmless. It's not peeling paint. It's just carbons. You can just wipe that stuff off. It's harmless. All right, guys, like I said, I sprayed these down. They've been soaking while I was doing the smoke chamber. So I'm just going to give them another hit. And again, using this sacrificial scrub brush here, Brillo pad. Just going to knock off the heavy stuff. Look for any rust. I don't like rust. So this is looking pretty good. And then I'll knock it down with a little hose. There we go. And do the other one. This one's been soaking a little bit longer. Some of you probably think, well, hey, this stuff is part of the seasoning and stuff. Well, yeah, if you want your beef tasting like pork and your pork tasting like chicken, hey, go for it. And then rinse it off. There we go. See that? You don't want that. Okay, next thing we want to do, the drip tray. Just pull off that old foil. I like to inspect it, make sure there's no cracks or anything. This is perfectly fine. I'll probably knock off some of this thicker grease, and you don't need to watch me put new foil on there, but however you feel like doing it, foil that sucker up and it's ready to go. All right, guys, here we go. So I didn't have to do anything to this deflector plate. Again, it's a little warped, but nothing drips on this. It's strictly to deflect that heat that's coming right off there. You can see how there's a little keyway here that goes into these notches. So it goes right in. There you go. So the next thing to go in here is the drip pan. So there's a longer end here that goes into this trough, and then the shorter end goes right up here in this little shelf here. And it just sits there. I kind of like to center it a little bit. Just make sure that it's sitting there. And I give the foil one last little pet. Oh yeah, that likes to be pet. All right. Okay, next thing we got to do is put in the grates. Okay, put the bottom grate in first. There we go. Now the top grate. There we go. Always take care of that thermometer right there. It's looking pretty good. All right, there we go. It's ready for the zombie apocalypse. Thumbs up. Simple as that, folks. Not too hard. It takes 15 minutes. A few basic little tools. You might have stuff sitting around the house. You can use any kind of biodegradable cleaner that you want. I recommend doing it on your grass, keeping small pets away, and clean all that waste up before they come out here. Otherwise, they're going to eat that stuff, and you don't want that in your little critters' stomachs. So all there's left to do is clean the outside. I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that, and I'm not going to bother showing you. So, folks, if you like what you see, please smash that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you don't miss a thing. We'll see you on the next cook.